First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced by money with every sentence reveal. I'm gon' pay back, fuck a dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Gotta end on until I let this pump select my focus and memory and every tale. I only live to do my master's will. ISUPK, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone straight, but made greater. In my return, left through my mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't do less it get approved. Won't take a step till it get confirmed. And take what was made for our sakes. Much I can take. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head. Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak. Bring hell like the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I want payback for the scars in the slave memoirs. Till Christ arrived, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies. The only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I'm patiently waiting with my eyes on the sparrow. And I pull the trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this swinging life like Ravello. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood. I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon, got too much love for the ghetto. And the school settle with DB, I die for the cause. Just to hear the angels of love. And I'm true by every word I say. Cause I know my victory on the way. You want it, nigga, walk this way. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your angels. Why like it is hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your angels. Why I can't be touched? Can't do it in clutch. They hate what they came down. We princes of the power, what you know about us. Evil all around us. But a nigga straight, I told you I can't be touched. Only angels walk at my pace. I'm grateful for the words that had me to live. I'm hungry for the joy, but I ain't eating till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. To tire out them booking numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rap, but you can't deny them. It's 144. I be running to and fro with the other higher. My UPK soldiers ain't no folding, no pretending. We in it for the crowns, fuck friends, we won't be reunion. In the election section, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. We stranger kind to get success. You better be through the eye of the steel, nigga. I'll be his life, man, it hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your niggas. Why I can't tell you it's hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your niggas. Why I can't be touched? Warrior with the hands, that's what I'm all about. Hunger in my eyes, vengeance in my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situation gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my ways. Pay back in every word, plus revenge in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark. Night never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought. This guy don't watch who I'm feeding. Now they walking with them angels. So I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak. Nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby fat soft. Better bear witness, I'm back off. I be ripping shit like Sackcloth. Dumb dogs all barked out. Behind me say I'll cut full. No room for emotion. So I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I intend to stay. And if it ain't UPK, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to something. Flow so deep, they drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Bro, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No right me, no head. Not even this body to live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm UPK, you tell them absolutely. And I ain't sure of my ways, but nothing. Gotta execute me. Cause I can never die with my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking. Watching my daughters tucked in their bed. They so smart. And Alana, she's so beautiful. But they ain't like other babies. And they dead and far from usual. Now I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about this shit I used to do in that 98 Navy. And 10 leather seats. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter. The lies are sweet. Tried everything. I guess me and Johanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see. And I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man. They better bring me blood and bed sheets. Chaos smash the time. This Glock match my handpiece. And I ain't trying to take him out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check. 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. Should call me 47. Praying for Armageddon. Me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame. Ask why, tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want this straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king. You never can't have me. Because I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot right to me. Say loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want this straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king. You never can't have me. Because I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot right to me. Say loyal to the king.
Shalom, Lord Christ, Israel. This is ISUPK, started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, under Commander General Johanna. We are the ISUPK Kentucky. Today we got a heavy class. We're gonna be talking about the Olympics and how it's a breeding ground for pedophilia and the destruction it has on our people. We're going to be going over like the origins and the history behind the events that happens at the Olympics, and then we're also going to be talking about the what it does and the effects it has on our people, and what the effects it has on our youth as well. So we're going to get into it tonight. Before we start, I want to go to Ecclesiastes 1 and start at verse 9, because we have to understand something. There's nothing new up under the sun. Okay, everything that's going on now has happened before in the past. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you get there, go ahead.
Khan, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
There's no new thing under the sun, okay? We have to understand that there's nothing new up under the sun. Read verse 10 too.
Khan, verse 10. Is there anything thereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Is there anything that may be said that, hey, man, this is new? Go ahead.
It hath been already of old time.
It's already been here. It's already happened. It happened in the old time. Okay, and we had to understand that. Okay, so if you would give me the meaning of the gymnast, that screenshot I sent you. We're gonna be looking up a bunch of meanings to a couple different words, and the significance of them in dealing with the Olympics and our people as a whole. And of course, when I say our people, we talk about all 12 tribes. Okay, you got it for me?
Time.
Go ahead.
The term gymnastics derived from a Greek word meaning to exercise naked.
A Greek word derived from a word meaning to exercise naked. Okay, so when you're looking at all these gymnasts in these small tight clothes, wearing absolutely almost nothing, you see the track and field sisters wearing absolutely pretty much not bathing suits. You know what I'm saying? They wearing like two-piece bathing suits. Men are wearing the one-piece bathing suits. You know what I'm saying? It's just the absolute wearing almost absolutely nothing. And the origins of it, they was actually wearing nothing when they was doing the exercising. Is that it on that? Go ahead, keep going.
Applied in ancient Greece to all exercises practiced in the gymnasium.
Anything that was done in the gymnasium, whether it's indoor track, boxing, wrestling, gymnastics, anything done inside, it was practiced naked. Go ahead.
The place where male athletes did indeed exercise unclothed.
The male athletes did indeed exercise naked, unclothed.
Many of these exercises came to be included in the Olympic Games until the abandonment of the games in 393 CE.
Read that again. A lot of these exercises that was being done naked, they was also the games that was in the Olympics. Go ahead. I read it again from where you was at.
Many of these exercises came to be included in the Olympic Games until the abandonment of the games in 393 CE.
See what I'm saying? Like a lot, and then even after the abandonment, when they decided to do the Olympics again, they still put these games in where these male athletes was exercising naked. Like that's what, and that's why now they still wear absolutely almost nothing. Like you see everything. It's just disgusting. You know what I'm saying? These 16-year-old little girls walking around looking like 14-year-old boys. You know what I'm saying? With these big ass shoulders and pecs. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Salaki, if I could, sir, this is since this is the history class. It says that the games were abandoned in 393. Isn't that when Rome fell?
393. That's CE. That's like what's happening now. So that was like after Christ. So it was 393 after Christ. I'm not quite sure. I'm get back to me next week. I'm gonna ask the camp leader on that, and I'll let you know for sure next week. So yeah, like this, it's just disgusting about the things that they was doing at the time. If you would go ahead and go into that article that I sent to you. Okay, see, what we had to understand that there's nothing new under the sun. All these same disgusting things that these heathens have been doing, they still doing. It's disgusting as hell. I mean, hell, they nowadays they even got any of the transgender competing in the weightlifting with the women. Like, I mean, it's just disgusting. Just the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, straight up.
So, like, are you looking for the one on the encyclopedia or the scandal on Wikipedia?
Give me the article, that first article I sent you. It's the one. It's the history. It's right. It's right under the gymnastics origins definition.
Gymnastics, the performance of systematic exercises, often with the use of rings, bars, and other apparatus.
So basically, everything that you see during the Olympics, during when the gymnast is doing the events, they got the rings, they got the uneven bars, they got the even bars, they got all these different events or games that they do where they take score. And these was all the games that was being practiced, but ass naked. Go ahead.
Either as a competitive sport or to improve strength, agility, coordination, and physical conditioning. History. The term gymnastics derived from a Greek word meaning to exercise naked, applied in ancient Greece to all exercises in the gymnasium. The place where male athletes did indeed exercise unclothed. Many of these exercises came to be included in the Olympic Games until the abandonment of the Games in 393 CE. Some of the competitions grouped under this ancient definition of gymnastics later became separate sports such as athletics, track and field, wrestling, and boxing. Of the modern events currently considered to be gymnastics, only tumbling and a primitive form of vaulting were known in the ancient world. For instance, Egyptian hieroglyphics show variations of backbends and other stunts being performed with the partner, while a well-known fresco from Crete at the place called Kosmos shows a leaper performing what is either a cartwheel or a handspring over a charging bull. Tumbling was an art form in ancient China as well. Stone engravings found in Shandong province that date to the Han period, 206 BC to 220 CE, portray acrobatics being performed. Tumbling continued in the Middle Ages in Europe, where it was practiced by traveling troops of thespians, dancers, acrobats, and jugglers. The activity was first described in the West in a book published in the 15th century by Archange Chikaro. The book contains 3 essays on jumping and tumbling. Tumbling seems to be an activity that evolved in various forms in many cultures with little cross-cultural influence. For instance, the hoop diving illustrated in Chikaro's book looked very similar to the type of tumbling seen in ancient China. Tumbling and acrobatics of all kinds were eventually incorporated into the circus, and it was the circus acrobats who first used primitive trampolines. In Jean-Jacques Rousseau's novel, is credited by historians as the catalyst of educational reform. In Europe, they combine both the physical and cognitive training in children.
See, they do all this training in children. They make sure they get them at young ages too. Like some of the earliest ages that they start training at is like around 5-6 years old is when they start training them up. Go ahead.
Rousseau's work inspired educational reformers in Germany who opened schools known as Philanthropium in the late 1700s. They featured a variety of outdoor activities, including gymnastics. Children from all economic strata were accepted. The grandfather of modern gymnastics, Johann Christoph Friedrich, was a leading teacher at the Philanthropist School in Siffenthal. In his seminal work, Gymnastics for Youth, he envisioned 2 main divisions of gymnastics: natural gymnastics and artificial gymnastics. These 2 divisions may be thought of as utilitarian and non-utilitarian gymnastics. The former disciplines emphasize the health of the body, similar to the exercises developed in Sweden and Denmark under Per Henrik Ling. Modern aerobics also falls in this category. Indeed, sports aerobics has recently been added to the disciplines sponsored by the International Gymnastics Federation. In contrast, non-utilitarian gymnastics is characterized by both modern artistic gymnastics, the maneuvers of which are geared to beauty and not function. For example, in feudal Europe, young men were taught to mount and dismount a horse, useful knowledge during a time when armies rode. Modern horsework in artistic gymnastics has evolved into a point where there is no practical connection between gymnastics maneuvers on a horse and horsemanship. Only the language of riding remains, with the terms mount and dismount still being used in gymnastics. The prime developer of natural gymnastic was Per Henrik Ling. In 1813, Ling founded a teacher training center, the Royal Gymnastics Central Institute in Stockholm. Ling devised and taught a system of gymnastics exercises designed to produce medical benefits for the athlete. Calisthenics are attributed to him, including free calisthenics, that is exercise without the use of a hand apparatus such as clubs, wands, and dumbbells. Although Ling did not promote competition, free calisthenics have evolved into the competitive sport known as the floor exercise.
Floor exercise, and where you see them running, doing all them flips, or they got that little ribbon that they do twirling around, trying to make it tell a story or whatever it's doing. That's what that's talking about right there. Go ahead, keep going.
The acknowledged father of gymnastics, Frederick Ludwig John, the founder of the Turnerian movement, is credited with the rapid spread of gymnastics throughout the world. Gymnastics competition can be traced to the outdoor playground John opened in the field known as Rabbit Field on the outskirts of Berlin. Ernst Elson, John's assistant and co-author of the German gymnastic art, carefully noted and explained the various exercises developed on the playground. The pommel horse was used for leg swinging exercises and vaulting. John invented the parallel bars to increase the upper body strength of his students, and immense towers were erected to test their courage. Balance beams, horizontal bars, climbing ropes, climbing poles also found at the turnplatz.
All these different games or events right here are all events that are in the Olympics. Go ahead.
Primitive pole vaulting was practiced along with other athletic games. A wide variety of challenging apparatus found on the playground attracted young men who were then, in addition, indoctrinated with John's dream of German unification and his ideas on the defense of the fatherland and ridding Prussia of French influence.
That just sounds effeminate and gay as hell right there. Keep going.
The Prussians and leaders from surrounding countries became wary of nationalist sentiments, and John and his followers were viewed with suspicion after the defeat of Napoleon in 1813. By 1815,
I bet they was a suspicion attracting a bunch of little boys. I mean, it seemed like that's all that's been attracted is a bunch of little boys. Go ahead, keep going.
By 1815, student organizations such as the Youth Branch were in favor of adopting a constitutional form of government.
Youth Branch, and there's always young boys too. Young boys. Like they attracting young boys. It's like a breeding ground for pedophilia. Keep going. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, too. Keep going.
Arming the citizenry and instituting greater civil freedoms. In 1819, after the murder of German playwright August von Kotzebue, by a Burschenschaft gymnast, the Prussian King Frederick William III. Closed approximately 100 gymnastics fields and centers in Prussia. Other Germanic states followed suit. John was arrested, jailed as a democratic demagogue, and placed under house arrest for the next 5 years. He was eventually acquitted, but was admonished to relocate far from Berlin to a city or town with neither institutions of higher learning nor gymnasium. He was awarded a yearly stipend and settled in Freiburg. The time was a period of personal tragedy for John. 2 of his 3 children died while he was under house arrest, and his wife died shortly thereafter. 3 of his close followers, Carl Beck, Carl Fallen, and Franz Lieber, fearing arrest, fled to North America, bringing gymnastics with them. The Turners, remaining in Prussia, went underground until the bans on gymnastics were lifted by King William IV in 1842. The first German gymnastic festival was held in Coburg in 1860. The festival attracted affiliated Turnverein clubs and marked the beginning of international competition. As the growing family of Turners outside of Germany were invited to participate, Americans had been introduced to gymnastics by the followers of John in the late 1820s, but not until 1848, when large numbers of Germans immigrated. Transplanted Turnivan members organized clubs and established a national union of Turner societies. By 1861, American Turners and Turners from Germanic regions bordering Prussia attended the Second Turnfest in Berlin. By the time the first modern Olympics in Athens in 1896, 8 Turnfests had taken place in Germany with the participation of a growing number of countries. In 1881, the Federation International Gymnastic was founded to supervise international competition. In 1896, Olympic Games fostered interest in gymnastics, and the FIG World Championship in Gymnastics were organized for young men in 1903, for women in 1934. In 1896, Olympic Games marked the advent of true international open competition in gymnastics. The games featured typical German or heavy apparatus events and rope climbing. Gymnastics competitions were not standardized for free of track and field events until the 1928 Olympics, when 5 of the 6 events presently held in Olympic gymnastics were contested: pommel horse, rings, vaulting, parallel bars, and horizontal bars, with both compulsory and optional routines required. Women first competed in the Olympics in 1928 in events similar to those of the men, except for the addition of the balance beam. Floor exercise events were added in 1932. Many of the world's greatest gymnasts have come from Eastern Europe. Larissa Latynina of Ukraine, later the coach of the Soviet team, is widely considered the greatest female gymnast of all time. She was the all-around champion in 2 Olympics and world championships in 1958 and 1962. No other gymnast has achieved this distinction. Latynina's prime rival was Vera Kolaksova of Czechoslovakia, who later became Czech Republic's Minister of the Sport. She was an all-around champion.
All right, go ahead and skip down to in the 1970s, where it says in the 1970s. Probably like two paragraphs. Well, actually, the next paragraph.
In the 1970s, a major change had occurred in women's gymnastics as younger and younger girls began competing in the events.
Okay, so in 1970, that's when the younger girls start competing in these events. Go ahead.
Russian gymnast Olga Kurbut and the Romanian Nadia Comaneci were both young teens during their Olympic triumphs. The presence of a preponderance of teenage girls in international gymnastics competitions from the late 70s into the 21st century was directly related to the Kurbut-Comaneci phenomenon.
So if these young teen girls are in the Olympics, they had to have started doing training at a very, very young age. Go ahead.
Many of these younger gymnasts, especially those who train long hours for competition, and some used doping techniques to delay the onset.
And some use doping techniques to delay the onset of physical maturation and the resulting change to gymnasts. That's heavy right there, because when they at that young age, that's when they do all that doping, dope all these little kids up to where they like Simone Biles, just all big, you know what I'm saying, just all big for no goddamn reason, you know what I'm saying, built like she literally built like a linebacker, got you know what I'm saying, look, she wearing shoulder pads, doing flips that can't nobody else do, you know what I'm saying. Now, I'm not gonna take all the magic away from her. That is the so-called black girl magic, but I mean, you know, there's not that much magic in the world to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody else do. Not one other gymnast can do. You know what I'm saying? Like that had to be some doping or something going on with that little girl, or when she was a little girl for her to be as just for her to be as big as what she is right now and to do some of the things that she do. Like hell, I'll even throw another one out there, like somebody like LeBron James. When they were younger in middle school, high school, he, you know, come on, man, you 6'8", 250 pounds coming out of high school. Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, I understand genes and genetics and all that, but I mean, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, keep going. Don't open up the little kids. Go ahead, keep going.
Coaching these youngsters posed difficulties since many were lured from or pushed by their families to train.
It was pushed by the families to train. So like the families was pushing them to dope up and do all these things to get a little and again, they have to do it at a young age, because by the time they're 15, 16, 17 years old, they're trying to get into the Olympics. You know, they do drug testing and stuff like that now. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they're not testing the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? They're not really in no competitions like that. But once you get into the competitions like the Olympics or the world gymnastics competitions, you know what I'm saying? They start drug testing for them events. Go ahead.
By 2000, the age requirement for Olympic participants in gymnastics had been raised to 16.
It was raised to 16, so it was lower than that. And what year was that? 2000? They didn't raise it to the 16 to the year 2000. So it was girls going to the Olympics younger than that. Like how like, and they competing against like grown women. Like, how can a young girl that's 13, 14, 15 years old compete with a grown woman? You know what I'm saying? You don't have all the physical attributes that grown woman would have. Go ahead, keep going.
In men's gymnastics, the greatest champions were Viktor Chikarin of the Soviet team and Kato Sueo of Japan, each two-time Olympic all-around champions, along with Vitaly Sherbo of Belarus, an Olympic and world all-around champion. Olympic gymnastics were grouped into different divisions: artistic, rhythmic, and trampoline. For men, the artistic gymnastics events were the floor exercise, pommel horse, rings, vault, parallel bars, and horizontal bar. And combined exercises, which combines the scores of other 6 events. The combined exercises for men are contested both on individual and team basis. For women, the artistic events are floor exercise, vault, uneven bars, balance beam, and combined exercises, both team and individual. Rhythmic group gymnastics was originally required in the women's artistic program, but became a separate sport when it was introduced internationally at an invitational competition in Budapest, Hungary in 1963. Thereafter, the Federation International Gymnastics scheduled a world competition in the even-numbered years beginning in 1964. The first known as modern rhythmic gymnastics, and later as rhythmic sport gymnastics. The discipline now known as rhythmic gymnastics became an Olympic sport in 1984. This branch of gymnastics is practiced only by women. The events in rhythmic gymnastics are named for the hand apparatus employed by the gymnasts: rope, hoop, ball, clubs, and ribbon. Medals are awarded at the Olympics and World Championships for team, group, all-around, and individual event competition. Trampoline and tumbling are also under the aegis of the FIG. Trampoline debuted as a men's and women's event in the 2000 Olympic Games. Olympic competition is an individual only. World Championship trampoline events also include double, mini trampoline, and synchronized trampoline competition.
You can go ahead. We can go ahead and drop that for right now because we done really got out what I wanted to get to. You see what I'm saying? So like a lot of these Olympic events and games that's going on today was the same events that was going on in the with the origins of the word, where the Greeks had these boys doing exercises in the gymnasium naked. You see what I'm saying? Just disgusting. Now, if I could, like some of the effects, go to that next article for me. The sex scandal. Hold on real quick. So like with the preying on the young kids, and them basically being susceptible to whatever adults are saying and doing, is pretty much easy to prey on these young kids, mind, and even like some of the parents are even pushing towards it and pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of the molestation and stuff like that happens. Just not too long ago, there was a what was it? The U.S. Olympics doctor Larry Nasser. He was accused, and I think he was also convicted of molesting and raping dozens and dozens and dozens of girls. And he was a doctor, like for the USA team. You know what I'm saying? And it was another dude, John Getter. He's he had close ties to the doctor. He also molested a bunch of girls as well, and he was one of the what was it, the 2012 Olympics when the girls wanted to go. Well, I think it was 2012 when the girls wanted to go. He was the coach of that team. He had got charged with molesting dozens and dozens of girls, and he ended up killing himself. You know what I'm saying? So like with all this about this, like even in men's sports, you hear about women getting molested or sexual harassed or whatnot. So like with all this women's movement and all this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like how come women aren't coaching and being doctors for women athletes and men are doing it for men athletes? So that wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like if women coach it, like there's a woman coach coaching for San Antonio, like the assistant coach for San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? Like why you couldn't be a head coach for a women's team? You know what I'm saying? Like And now if it come out a story where somebody was harassing her, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising because, I mean, that like it's history of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. When women are in men's sports and when men are in women's sports. You know what I'm saying? They if you know, I'm not saying that women shouldn't or can't be athletes, but you should have women doctors and women coaches for the women athletes. Is basically all I'm saying right there. Go to that article real quick. Well, let's read some of that.
The USA Gymnastics sex abuse scandal relates to the sexual abuse of female athletes, primarily minors at the time of the abuse.
Primarily minors at the time of the abuse.
Over 2 decades in the United States, starting in the late 90s.
More than 2 decades. That's 20. That's what, 20 years? That decade is 10 years. That's over 20 years. Go ahead, keep going.
More than 368 people alleged that they were sexually assaulted by gym owners, coaches, and staff.
Gym owners, coaches, and staff. Go ahead.
Particularly longtime USA Gymnastics national team doctor Larry Nassar.
Larry Nassar, that's the one I was just talking about, where he was a doctor and was molesting hundreds of girls. Go ahead.
Has been named in hundreds of lawsuits filed by athletes who said that Nassar engaged in sexual abuse for the last 14 years under the pretense of providing medical treatment. Since the scandal was first reported in the Indianapolis Star in 2016, more than 265 women.
Damn. Including 265 women. Go ahead.
Including former USAG national team members Jessica Howard, Jamie Dancer, Morgan White, Jeanette Antolin, Michaela Murray, Allie Raisman, Maggie Nichols, Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles. Jordan
molested at a younger age. Well, I just said that. Go ahead.
Jordan Weiber, Sabrina Vega, Aston Locklear, Kayla Ross, Madison Kosian, Amanda Jeter, Tasha Steikwart, Maddie Larson, Bailey Kay, Kennedy Baker, Alyssa Bauman have accused Nassar of sexually assaulting them. It is one of the largest sexual abuse scandals in sports history. On July 11, 2017, Nassar pled guilty to federal child pornography charges and was sentenced to 60 years in prison on December 7, 2017. On November 22nd, he pleaded guilty in state court to 7 charges of first-degree sexual assault and entered another guilty plea a week later to 3 additional charges of sexual assault. On January 24th, 2018, Nassar was sentenced to an additional 40 to 175 years in prison, set to run after Nassar serves the 60-year federal prison sentence for child pornography.
Child pornography.
On February 5th, Nassar received another 40 to 125 years. As of 2019, he is incarcerated in the United States Penitentiary, Coleman. An investigation by the Indianapolis Star over a period of 9 months found that the abuses were widespread because predatory coaches were allowed to move from gym to gym undetected by a lax system of oversight or dangerously passed on by USA Gymnastics certified gyms. The USAG and Michigan State University, where Nassar worked as its osteopathic physician, has been accused of enabling Nassar's abuse and are named as defendants in civil lawsuits that former gymnasts have filed against Nassar.
So if something happened in one gym, they just ship them on out to another gym. Like, that's crazy. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, it sounds like the Catholic Church where they just move priests.
When they move priests, that's exactly what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like. Go ahead.
Besides Nassar, other coaches involved in the scandal in Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, Rhode Island, Indiana, and elsewhere. On May 16, 2018, it was announced that the victims would be awarded the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. On December 13th, the National Collegiate Athletic Association awarded Nichols, the first person to have reported Nassar but not the first to go public with her report in the Inspiration Award for 2019.
That's really enough on that. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole gymnastics is a breeding ground. Again, it's a breeding ground for pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? They prey on these little young girls, young boys. And it's just disgusting. And the white man is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of. You know what I'm saying? The effects it has on our youth. You know what I'm saying? Like the molestation, the doping that was mentioned in the first article, where they're doping up the little kids at a young age. You know what I'm saying? To get them physically stronger and more ready to compete against like adults. Like, come on, man, that just doesn't make any sense doing that to a little kid. Again, that's probably why all these little girls walking around looking like, you know what I'm saying, 14, 15 young little boys with shoulders and pecs and no hips, and you know what I'm saying, just looking like linebackers with shoulder pads on, like straight up. You know what I'm saying? It's like disgusting looking, for real. You know what I'm saying? Human trafficking, like that's basically what it is. The human sex trafficking these little kids. It's disgusting. Give me the Wikipedia on the bread and circuses. Because what we had to understand is this is all a game, it's like a setup, you know what I'm saying, to slow no crack. A setup, like we've been duped, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Bread and circuses is a phrase referring to superficial appeasement. It is attributed to juvenile, a Roman poet active in the 1st and early 2nd century CE, and is used commonly in cultural, particularly political contexts. In a political context, the phrase means to generate public approval.
To generate public approval, go ahead.
Not by excellence in public service or public policy.
Not by good policies or services or anything like that. Not doing anything good for the people. Go ahead.
But by diversion.
But by diversion.
Distraction.
Go ahead.
Or by satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of the populace. Offering palliative, for example, food, bread, or entertainment services.
Food, bread, or entertainment. You know what I'm saying? That's basically like back in the Roman days with the gladiators. You know what I'm saying? They'd have all the poor people in there. They feed them bread so they could cheer for the gladiators and people to be slaughtered in the games, fighting against other gladiators or Roman soldiers or tigers and bears and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Which that right there is like, you know what I'm saying, like when they was talking about earlier, when we was talking about how they get them at an early age, you know what I'm saying, and they get them participating in these games at early ages. You know what I'm saying? You got like the pee-wee football, the little league, you know what I'm saying, all that. They get them at these real young ages, and they you know what I'm saying, they make them good, you know what I'm saying, like have all this practicing. They do all this practicing at a young age to get them physically ready for when they get older, you know what I'm saying. If you would also read the Colosseum, the Wikipedia Colosseum.
The Colosseum is an oval amphitheater in the center of the city of Rome, Italy.
Let's stop right there. It's a oval amphitheater. So if we think about that, it's like that's any of your football, basketball, baseball arenas. You know what I'm saying? The KFC, the Yum Yum Center, which is right down on the west end in the middle of a power, you know what I'm saying? Hell, yeah, there we go. Slovakia, the water for that. basically in the middle of hell, where everybody down there is living in poverty. You know what I'm saying? Drugs everywhere. People on living on the corners. The last summer, the 90 days of the Breonna Taylor, where they shut down the whole West End. Hell, that's 3 blocks away from the Yum Yum Center. It's like 3 blocks away from it. You know what I'm saying? But during the NCAA tournaments, Yum Yum Center was full. You know what I'm saying? They had all the people that was down there living in poverty. You know what I'm saying? They paid their hard-earned money to still go in there and watch them games because bread and circuses. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, read a little bit more on that.
It is the largest ancient amphitheater ever built. It is still the largest standing amphitheater.
Slack it. Hold on. Like again, like I was saying, like all these arenas and everything are built in impoverished areas. You know what I'm saying? They're built in the poor areas. This project is literally the Beach of Terrace is literally a project right down the street from the Yum Yum Center. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, keep going.
Construction began under Emperor Vespasian and was completed by his successor and heir Titus. Further modifications were made during the reign of Domitian. The 3 emperors that were patrons of the work are known today as the Flavian dynasty. The amphitheater.
Now hold on, go back up to like 70 AD. Now, when that Colosseum was built, now 70 AD, that's when Rome fell. You know, or not Rome, but that's when Israel fell, and we had to flee out. The ones that didn't, that wasn't able to make it out, those were the like all the gladiators, how they would put them in the games and make them slaughter and kill each other, which kind of reminds me because they like to put you in these games. And make you like kill one another, or like severely hurt one another. Like for example, like football, that's like a game of gladiators. Wrestling, UFC, boxing, them is like all gladiator games right there. Go ahead.
And if I could, sir, it doesn't sound like a coincidence that Jerusalem fell at the same time that the Colosseum was built.
Right, because they needed them slaves. They needed people to entertain them. Are you not entertained? You know what I'm saying? Everybody done seen Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Like that. That's what that was right there. Now it kind of reminds me of Samson a little bit. Give me Judges 16 and 25, because you know what I'm saying? They made it like a sport with him right there. They plucked his eyes out. You know, when you get it, go ahead and read.
The book of Judges, chapter 16, verse 25. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, "Call for Samson, that he may make us sport."
That he may make us sport. Like they want to, you know what I'm saying? They want to watch him like he's a game. Like he's already got his eyes and everything to cut out and everything. Go ahead, keep going.
And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport.
He made them sport. Go ahead.
And they set him between 2 pillars. Verse 26. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, "Suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them." Verse 27. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. Verse 28. So
it was 3,000 people up there just watching and laughing and getting a kick out of what's going on right here. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And Samson called unto the Lord and said, "O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee. Only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes."
Right. Because they done plucked his eyes out. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. Verse 30. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon the people that were therein.
Killing everybody. Keep going.
So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which slew in his life.
So the he slew more in his death than were which was slew in his life. You see what I'm saying? Like they used them in like humiliation and made a game out of it, which is a very heathen and disgusting thing to do. Give me Maccabees 1 Maccabees 1 and 10.
The book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been hostage in Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
In those days went out of Israel wicked men. So it was like wicked men leading Israel that day. It's like men like the MLKs, Martin Luther Kings, and our so-called leaders, that black leaders that we have today. Go ahead.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Let us go make a covenant with the heathen. Like MLK is a perfect example. Let us go make a covenant with the heathen. Hold that. Give me Jeremiah 23 and 23, where it's talking about I had dreamed. Because as we all know, Martin Luther King sold us out. Martin Luther King is the worst thing that ever happened to black people. You know what I'm saying? More black-owned businesses was destroyed behind Martin Luther King than anything. You know what I'm saying? If Martin Luther King did anything good, if anything good came behind Martin Luther King, then why is it something called Black Lives Matter today? Or why do we have to say support black business today? If anything Martin Luther King did for us was a good thing. You got it?
Go ahead. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 25. I have heard what the prophets said, that prophecy lies in my name.
Now you heard what the prophet said, prophesying lies in his name. Go ahead.
Saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed.
It's one man that made a I have a dream speech very popular and famous. That was Martin Luther King. He made a famous, made that saying famous. I dreamed little black boys and little black girls, little white girls, and blah, blah, bullshit. Go ahead, keep going.
Verse 26. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets, that prophecy lies?
That prophesy lies in his name. They prophesy lies in his name. Go ahead, finish it up.
Yea, they are the prophets of deceit of their own heart.
They're prophets of deceit of their own heart. Because really, you can go back to the first Maccabees, because really all Martin Luther King wanted was to sleep with white women. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give a damn about black people. He just wanted to sleep with white prostitutes and do drugs, to be more specific. Go ahead. Keep going where you was at in first Maccabee. I believe it was verse 11.
Verse 11, in those wicked days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying...
And again, there's nothing new under the sun. In those days, it was wicked men coming out of Israel. And today, we have wicked men that's so-called leading Israel. Go ahead.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them and have had much sorrow.
See, ever since we departed from this heathen, we didn't have much sorrow. It's like a lot of black folks run around thinking, where would we be without the white man? Where would we be without them? You know what I'm saying? Hell, we'd be on top of the goddamn world. That's where we'd be. Go ahead, keep going.
Verse 12, so this device pleased them well. Verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
To do after the ordinance, they went to the king to go get a license to do after the king. Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Or do after the heathen. Salakia. Go ahead.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise.
They built a place of exercise. Again, nothing new under the sun. They built a place of exercise
At Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
According to the customs of the heathen, which was, what was the Greek word meaning?
Exercise
To
naked.
exercise naked. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
They made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. Go ahead.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
And were sold to do mischief.
And were sold to do mischief. Go to 2 Maccabees 4 and start at verse 7.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 7. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes.
Well, what I want you to do, go ahead and read through 10, and then we're gonna go back and break it down.
Okay. Took the kingdom. Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest. Verse 8, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Verse 9, beside this he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise, and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus. Verse 10, which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion.
Is that through 10?
Okay.
All right, go back up to verse 7 and read that from the top.
Verse 7. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest.
Let's stop right there. Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand. What does labor underhand mean?
Like backstabbing.
Exactly, like backstabbing, little slick. You know what I'm saying? Devious, dirty. MF. That's what we, a dirty month. You know what I'm saying? A dirty MF. Go ahead.
Verse 8, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another venue 80 talents.
Now he's promising this king that he's gonna make him a lot of money. Okay, he's promising this king that he's gonna make a lot of money. Go ahead.
Verse 9, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise.
A place of exercise. Again, the where little boys was doing exercises naked. Keep going.
And for the training up of youth.
Again, the training up of the youth. Again, with these young gymnasts to even be able to make it to the Olympics at 16 years old, they have to start at a young age. You know what I'm saying? Little league football, pee-wee football. You know what I'm saying? You got middle school, high school, college, and then you get to the pros. You know what I'm saying? You have all these different levels, and they all start when you're very young. You know what I'm saying? Didn't Floyd Mayweather say he started boxing when he was like 5-6 years old? You know what I'm saying? Like every great starts when they're very, very young. Hell, before you get to college, you got like the AAU. You know what I'm saying? You got middle school, high school, AAU. Then you got college. You got all these different levels, and it all starts when you're a young kid. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus.
And write them by Jerusalem, the name of Antiochus. Like when we're at the Olympic Games, what do we have on our chest? USA. Team USA, or Team France, or Team England, or whatever country that you're from. You have that on your jersey instead of giving the props to where it's actually supposed to go, to giving the props to who you actually are. Now let's drop that. Give me Baruch 4 and start at 3.
Hey, if I may,
Go ahead.
I might want to drop down to verse 16. That go into even deeper what you were just talking about how, you know, we playing sports for them and all that representing their countries and stuff.
Okay, drop down to 16.
Salakia, the book of Baruch still?
Nah, Second Maccabees 4 and drop down to 16.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them.
Right now, calamity, that's tragedy.
Tragedy.
Anything, just like what we going through growing up in the neighborhood, just tragedy.
Right.
And tragedy came upon them.
For they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
Right, they had us be their enemies and their avengers. So we winning all these wars, winning all these Olympic games for them, and also it's niggas dying in the ghetto.
Right.
Killed. That's what happened with Colin Kaepernick.
Right. And
being the enemies and the avengers at the same
and when
time.
we come home from winning them gold medals, we still get treated like dogs.
Or the war.
Or the war.
Right.
Where Muhammad Ali came home, wanted to get a cup of coffee, white woman went and sell him a cup of coffee.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or when they was over fighting, Negroes over there fighting in Germany in World War II, how the white soldiers didn't want to eat or drink at the bars over there in Germany with them. So they wanted the Germans to say, hey, make these whites only and kick the Negroes out. But the Germans was like, fuck y'all, Slovakia. They was like, forget that, these Negroes only, because we don't like what you're talking about. And they made them white officers, made them white military people mad. And it was a 2-day war between whites and blacks in Germany during World War II. You know what I'm saying? So niggas not only had to worry about the Germans shooting them in the ass, they got to worry about their own so-called people shooting them in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Did you have more on that?
Whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things.
Desire to be, and we desire to be like these so-called oppressor in every goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? We run behind them, yes, master, basically with every goddamn thing. And it's disgusting. That was heavy right there. That was heavy right there. Now go to Baruch 4 and 3.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 3. Give not thine honor to another.
Give not thy honor unto another. Go ahead and read it through 4, and we'll go back and break it down.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 3. Give not thine honor unto another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. Verse 4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us.
Was that it? Okay, go back up to the top. Top of 3.
Verse 3. Give not thine honor unto another.
Give not your honor to another. So when you go in and participate in the Olympic Games and whatnot, taking all your distraction off of what's happening to your people here at home, you're more worried about Sha'Carri Richardson, or is she gonna get to run, or let's boycott if she don't get to run, or you know what I'm saying, Simone Biles, well, let's see what she gonna do, how many goals she gonna get, or who the fastest man is, and you're not worried about what's going on in your own goddamn neighborhood where no oppressors got their foot on your neck in your neighborhood. You're paying no attention to none of that. Go ahead.
Nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Everything that is profitable about getting that gold medal, it doesn't go to us. It doesn't come to the hood. You know what I'm saying? America gets that credit. The so-called white man, the oppressor, gets that credit. And then you come home and get none of that credit. You get treated like a third-class citizen in your own goddamn country. Go ahead.
Verse 4, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known to us.
Happy are we for things that are pleasing to God. So like when we come together and do what we're supposed to do as a people that's under the law, like for example, the Midwest Fire Weekend, which what a beautiful weekend it was. You know what I'm saying? That was glorious to the Most High. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. Go into the Tokyo to the Olympics for our whole country could give a damn about you if you live or die, doesn't give a damn about you, because even when you're back here, you get no justice for anything, any of the oppression that you had to be suppressed to. So you get no relief or nothing from this country. You know what I'm saying? So when you do things with your own people, and you're gathering together with your people, doing things for God with your people. Go ahead, read that from the top. Verse 4.
Verse 4, O Israel, happy are we.
Then that's when everybody I seen this weekend was happy as hell. You know, we was all had the brotherhood and sisterhood in the ISUPK is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was happy as hell, and we was all there under the Lord. Go ahead.
For things that are pleasing to God.
And that was very pleasing to God to see us all there this weekend. It was very pleasing to God.
Are made known unto us.
That is made known to us. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to get back to as a people. Okay. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the class on to Officer Amawankabar.
Mess it up in the middle. So you have to just clear it.